Good evening. We call to order the regular meeting of West Valley City Council. We note that we have 6 council members present. Councilman Lars Nordfeld is excused tonight. Our opening ceremony will be from Council Member Karen Lang.
Would you please stand and repeat the pledge of allegiance?
Are those scouts? Can't quite see. Okay. So no special recognitions for scouts. Our minutes of March 13th then. I need a motion from the council on approval of the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes of March 13th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. It passes unanimously. Next is our comment period. We only had one person sign up. And that is Mr. Paul Nichols. Since he's familiar with the process, I won't give him any explanation.
Paul C. Nichols, 5329 West, 4100 South. I took enough times on this speed on 4100 by my house, and they're going 60 miles an hour or better every day, every morning, every night. They had a flashing 45 speed line, or 40, I don't know what it was, but they removed that this morning. What's happening now? Anybody tell me why they moved the sign? But there's no officers around either. So, that's all I can tell you. There's no police officers whatsoever. I've never seen one today. Thank you.
Thank you. Were there others that were planning on speaking tonight? Any other public comment? Yes, if you'd come forward and give your name and address for our record, and it's a maximum of 5 minutes in case you don't see that.
Joan Weldon, 3910 South Redwood Road. I'm not sure if you're talking about the Kmart property tonight. I did not see the agenda. Is that on the agenda tonight? Okay, so I should just come back another time then.
The time is yours to speak on any issue that you want. We most likely can't respond to it since it's not on our agenda, but you can say anything you want. It's
Okay.
public comment.
I'm very concerned about the Kmart property going at 6.5 stories high of apartment buildings with only 1 parking spot per apartment. I think we're asking for trouble, and it's going to create a lot of havoc with parking, with driving, with having apartments that dense. They're going to bring inner city problems that we haven't seen as much as we have in the past. I mean, as we haven't been dealing with 6 stories high. So I will just come back and finish when you decide to talk about that. Has that been scheduled yet? You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, then we also had Rebecca Davis.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Davis, 3804 South Hawkeye Street. I'm here tonight. The issue will be discussed on Smith Farm subdivision. I live on Hawkeye Street, on one of those streets that will be directly affected by that one exit from that subdivision. And as you can see, I have my 3 small children I brought tonight. My kids are adopted. One of my children has special needs. And they love to ride their bikes, and I'm just really concerned about the extra traffic that will be resolved of that subdivision. I'd like to see that property developed, but developed properly with 2 exits, one out to 40th West, just so that it doesn't disrupt our neighborhood with too much traffic flow, because there already is quite a bit of traffic. You live in a subdivision that doesn't have direct streets out to 40th West, and this will just definitely add to the congestion, so that's my concern. So I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who is planning on speaking tonight? Okay. Seeing no other, then I'll close the public comment portion. We'll go to any comments from our city manager.
No, sir, not this evening, thank you.
To our city council, any comments? With that then, we'll continue on our agenda, going to ordinance 18-07 to repeal and reenact Title 21 West Valley City Municipal Code. And get that up before me, because I got to remember now. There are quite a few items on there. A lot of those were just revisions, and gets expanded and almost to the point of being cluttered, and so there was a lot of changes made to make that simpler. Several laws were removed because they're now codified in state law, and then there's some changes that would have impacted our felony prosecutions, and then if the city's misdemeanor crimes had the same elements as the state crimes with a higher punishment, they wouldn't they would come to the city rather than trying to go because it's a higher crime, or a higher penalty, excuse me, at the state level. So we had a lot of revisions to do as state laws change. This is our basically our criminal code. I'm trying to recall if there are any other major changes in that. Those seem like the 2 most prominent ones. But that's what we're doing. We don't think there's any major policy changes, more refining and bringing that into compliance with a few concerns at the state level. With that then, introduction to the council for comments or for motion.
Move to approve ordinance 18-07.
Second. Property before us. And if our council member attorney didn't have any comments, why, we're probably okay, because we rely on him quite a bit. Seeing no further discussion or comments, then to our city recorder for the roll call vote.
Councilman Fitty Simonu,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilman Hume,
Aye.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Next, we go to application S-14-2017, filed by Greg Larson. Final plat approval for the cottages at Smith Farm, Phase 1 subdivision located at 3879 South, 4000 West. And we do have a proposal before us, and as I have studied that, and now as I'm instructed carefully, this is an administrative action. It comes to our council for our information, but it meets all of the requirements of our city code. Although I think we've had lots of discussions about concerns with their proposal and the fact that it's only partially completed. There's going to be 2 phases. The phase 2 portion, which would hopefully get a road out to 40th West, will not be completed as part of this at this time. But we can only vote on what's before us. And so, as I recall, I got to go back now and call that up, which I should have done before. But it's pretty easy to get up. My computer's really working well tonight. So they're going to put in 15 lots, and then the parts that will, I guess, be phase 2, 2 parcels on approximately 6 acres. And so one of those will be developed, part of it will not. They range in sizes from 8,000 to 14,000 square feet, the average being around a little over 10,000 square feet. There will be an existing stub from Stonebrook Estates to the east, Glen Eagle Way, and there's also an access easement along the northern part of that will be replaced with access to a cul-de-sac that will connect to Glen Eagle Way. So those 3 property owners have access. I think that's the major change. There are a couple of flag lots in there. Anything else I've left out on that? I think that covers most of it. That is the issue before us for that phase 1 of that development. With that then, to the council.
Mayor, I have a comment or two, and
Sure.
I'd like staff's confirmation or a clarification if I misunderstood something with respect to this. So I appreciate Rebecca Davis coming today with her children and telling us about her concerns. I know there are concerns in the neighborhood as well. With this first phase, as I understand it, the developer has met the requirements that are in the law. And when meeting the requirements in the law, we are compelled to grant the proposal. One of those requirements has to do with the number of lots or homes that could be accessed from a single point. They are under that requirement, so they can develop with a single point of access. We don't like single points of access, but anytime there's a cul-de-sac, it is a single point. Sometimes those only have 4 or 5 houses on them. This still meets our requirement. When they develop phase 2, it will require access to 40th West, which will then connect everything to 40th West. Of course, we don't know how long it will take them to develop that or when they will plan on developing phase 2. But what we're faced with today is an application that meets all of the legal requirements that have been set, and we have no basis to deny this. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve application S14, 2017.
Seconded.
Motion is properly before us. Any further comments?
Just that hopefully we will hold that developer's feet to the fire on making that second connection out to 40th.
I guess that's a question or clarification that I have, that the development of parcel B is contingent upon that connection to 40th West. There's no other way that they could develop that without building that connection, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
Would have been nice to have seen the full completion, but given what's before us, that's what we'll vote on. With that, seeing no further comments, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Yoon,
Aye.
Councilman Bueller,
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu,
Aye.
and Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
With that then, we go to our consent agenda. We have 2 items on our consent agenda. Resolution 18-32, right-of-way and temporary construction easement, property at 3985 South, 6400 West. And Resolution 18-33, right-of-way contract and temporary construction easement for property at 3986 South, 6400 West. This is in conjunction with the bridge that is being replaced there, and so this will give us authorization to go on that and work there. And so pretty straightforward. It's not the first one of those that we've done, but in fact, we have one scheduled for next week too, that we've got. So that is our consent agenda to the council.
We'll move approval of the 2 items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, to our city recorder for the vote.
Councilmember Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilwoman Lang.
Yes.
Councilman Bueller.
Aye.
Councilman Hume.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
And Mayor Bigelow.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. Before we adjourn,
No,
we have, a couple of items, but one is that we typically recognize our scouts, and one of them usually, however process they use to decide it, needs to come forward and introduce the troop, your schools you attend, and why you're here, what you're working on. And so if you'll come do that, no, you don't have to introduce yourselves.
We're
No, someone has, one of the young men has to come up. Just come up here and pull the microphone down, and we'll coach you as you go along. How's that?
It's not that big of a crowd.
We're here with Troop 97. Me and Kevin over here, and I'm Hiram. We're doing Citizenship of the World, I think it's called. Community.
Citizenship in the
I'm just
community.
doing.
And the schools you attend.
I attend Wasatch Junior High, and he attends Valley Junior High.
Okay,
Yeah.
very good. Thank you very much for coming tonight.
You're welcome.
And so we only have one more item. We do need to hold a closed session, formerly called an executive session, for the purpose of discussing pending or imminent litigation. And I think that was the only item on the agenda.
Also the disposition of property.
Oh, and the disposition of real property. Those 2 items, after which we will adjourn with no further work. So, need that motion.
So moved.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Passes unanimously. And with that, we excuse the public and we'll talk about litigation and selling property.